I'm back. That was quick, right? We're going to talk about respiration. We already talked about photosynthesis, okay? Now, all organisms respire, except for those little organisms we talked about that don't need oxygen to get energy. And usually they're very tiny single-celled organisms. Okay, all other organisms need to make a lot of energy, and so they have to go through respiration to make that ATP. We take the energy from sugar, okay, we take the energy from sugar basically and break it down and create energy with that. Okay? Respiration, for the most part, takes place in the mitochondria. So when we said that mitochondria were the powerhouse of the cell, okay, when we did the cell city analogy, we said that the hydrologic dam, basically the dam where they basically make energy through the turbines, we said that the dam was basically the energy producer of that cell city. All right, so the mitochondria is where this happens, where respiration happens. All right? Now, in respiration, as we said in photosynthesis, photosynthesis produces sugar and oxygen. Now, you know that anything that basically we talk about that we say breathes, okay, uses oxygen. Well, yes, that's true. And the oxygen is right here. It's one of the reactants, one of the inputs. The sugar is here. Now, many things can actually be kind of plugged into respiration. All right, so we can break down fats and we can break down other things to plug into this pathway somewhere. But basically, they all end up giving us carbons and hydrogens and oxygens to break down into these. All right, so we just basically say we use sugar. Sugar is the energy of life. Glucose. Okay, glucose is plugged in, and then we get those out. Now remember, in photosynthesis we said these carbons were inputs to make the carbons in sugar. In this case, the carbons in the sugar are going to be broken down into the carbons of CO2 and the hydrogens into water. Okay, the oxygens here basically get coupled with a couple of hydrogens and get turned into water also. Okay, makes sense? Alrighty. So let's talk about this. In respiration, in the mitochondria, okay, the first part happens out of the mitochondria, and then pieces move in, and that's where we make all of the ATP. Okay, so when this happens, we take C6H12O6 plus oxygen. This arrow means change occurs, and the product, one of the waste products, the one that we don't really use, is CO2. This is a waste product. Okay, it's produced from breaking these down. All right, we breathe that out. Some people think respiration is just breathing. No, breathing just gets the oxygen in and the CO2 out. Respiration is a process that uses this stuff to make energy. Okay, another one of the products is H2O. Now, H2O is pretty much helpful. We can use the water, right, and then we can reuse the water. So it kind of, the H2O we don't really call a waste product, but it is a product of respiration. Okay? Now we notice, I drew these in blue. Why? The products of respiration can be used by the plant as its input or its reactants. Okay, so these two are linked. We almost call this a circular process. What the plant produces, animals can use, and what we produce, the plant can then reuse. And so it's circular. It goes in a circle. All right? So that's respiration in a nutshell. Now, one problem again is we had to balance this equation. This one's not balanced. Now, they're the same equations, basically. They use the same products for the inputs and the same products for the inputs. And so, in this case, we have another evil reaction. Okay, we add some 6's, and we balance our equation. All right? So now we have a balanced equation. Now, think of the plant. Plants store sugar in photosynthesis. Okay? Think of a fruit. It's sweet. Well, that's one place where they store the sugar. Okay? Plants can stand up in the wind because they basically build their cell walls up with cellulose, which they build with glucoses. Okay, so that's another way they use sugar. So just like this is a waste product, but we can use the water, plants, when they photosynthesize, they use the sugar, okay? They get rid of the oxygen. That's a waste product. All right? So, just kind of trying to tie up all loose ends there for you. Okay, so these are the two processes, photosynthesis, respiration. Photosynthesis happens in the chloroplast. Respiration happens in the mitochondria, where we can break down sugar, all right? And we can, with the use of oxygen, if oxygen's not present, none of this can happen. We can have all the sugar we want. With no oxygen, doesn't happen. Okay, so we break down sugar. With the use of oxygen, we produce carbon dioxide and water. Those are the products. Okay, and we get lots and lots of energy so we can function. Okay, so our cells can work and help us do things like exercise and run or sit on the couch and watch TV. Still need sugar to make energy. Okay, so that's respiration and photosynthesis kind of together, you know, tying up loose ends. We'll be back another time to talk about other stuff with the podcast. So from the pod board, leaving, thanks, good luck.